All right, guys. Hey, and welcome to the Walking Dead podcast done by the Horror Junkies of Utah. We're doing this one a little late this time, which, you know, it happens. Life gets busy. Things happen, like Alex's computer decides to take a big dump. Um, but I was also busy, so we're recording this one a little late, but I hope we got a really good episode going on here. This was season 6, episode 14, Twice as Far. Now, Alex,
What's up?
what were your general impressions, real quick, about this episode before we get into any of the details? Not after seeing the episode, but going into it. What did you think was going to happen just from the opening? Were you excited?
Well, the way they shot the opening, it set up like a routine. That's the first thing I thought of. You saw people doing the same thing over and over again, just the different days. You saw Eugene changing of the guard kind of thing, Carol hanging out, Morgan practicing being Donatello. And so, to me, the episode set up the idea of routine, and then knowing The Walking Dead, by the end of the episode, that routine's going to change. Something's going to be different. So I was waiting to see what would change from these opening shots, establishing what these characters do every morning, and what would change by the end of the episode.
Got ya. So, I mean, basically, this episode takes two separate groups, and they're both on, well, the one group's on like a recon mission, and the other group's on a mission to scavenge some medical supplies, mainly medications, correct?
Yeah, the group headed by Rosita, Daryl, and Denise were getting medical supplies. She knew of a place kind of unknown, hoping they could grab some medical stuff. And then Eugene had this idea of making bullets, and so he and Abraham went to, I guess, for lack of a better term, a bullet factory. It wasn't a bullet factory, but that's what they were going to turn it into.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't mention.
I don't know what that was before. What was that factory before that they are on their way to?
I don't know, a meth lab?
Probably something like that. Something along those lines, most likely. But so we got two groups going out. Two groups going out, and I swear Denise, this is her her scavenge mission, right?
Yeah, she's the one who heads it up, so she wants to go on it.
Exactly. She's put the list together, but she wants to go with as well. And I believe Rosita and Daryl at first are kind of apprehensive.
Yeah, well, Rosita's kind of apprehensive the whole episode.
And Daryl's just kind of like, whatever.
She's in bed with Spencer and just in a not very good mood throughout the whole episode.
She's very confrontational, and I want to talk about, so let's try and keep the two stories parallel with each other until they finally meld together. But so with the Rosita, Daryl, Denise group, they make this trip out, and they come to like a two ways. We have two ways to get to this location. Which one are we going to take? And Rosita wants to go one way. Daryl wants to go the other. Yeah. And right there, I just, in that sense, it's very, she's standoffish, I think. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Right.
Now, Daryl, I believe, takes the road.
I think he goes the longer way, and I want to say it was a road and through some shrubs. I'm not sure if he went through the wilderness or not, but Rosita wanted to take the tracks, and that's when Daryl said, you're sitting ducks. You're just waiting for something bad to happen. We're going to go this way.
And I'll tell you one thing the tracks took me back to. I was watching that whole scene. So Rosita takes the tracks. Daryl takes this road into the forest type thing, I think. The longer of the two routes. But the whole time I'm watching this I'm thinking Daryl's going back in his mind and he's remembering the name of that town that was along the tracks that they were following. from like episode or season 4. What was the name of that town with the cannibals? Do you remember?
Terminus?
Yeah, Terminus, because the whole time they're traveling a track to get to Terminus. And I just see on Daryl's face, and I don't know if this is just me, but I'm like, he's like, fuck that. I'm done with tracks. I'm not traveling tracks anymore.
Right.
So he's like, bad things happen on tracks. But a lot of that season was on tracks, following tracks, and very terrible things happen because tracks are a very frequently walked area. So I don't know. That's what I got from him, is he was being more safe and thinking we're going to take the longer route, not the shorter route. But then it came down to, you know what, do what you want.
Yeah, he knows better than to stand in her wrath. Get out of her way.
Do you think she's just so upset with the Abraham thing?
Yes.
It's just it's got her so distraught that she's just so mad and upset about the whole thing that I don't think anyone can make her happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about before how people consider Walking Dead almost like a soap opera. This is very soap opera. This element of love triangle. He loves someone else. She loves him. She can't have him, etc. And I think it's just kind of the standard. You hate this person because they left you, but you have to work with them and see them every day. And so you could begin to understand why she's in such a bad mood.
Yeah,
and maybe she's not in love with Spencer. She's just trying to fill that void.
And of course, Denise decides, I'm going to go with Daryl, correct?
Yes, she goes with Daryl.
And so those two split off, which to me is like, this is a terrible idea, but whatever. You're mad. Daryl doesn't want to get in your crosshairs, so he's just like, whatever. Go your way. We'll meet up there, hopefully. You would think there would be a little bit more discussion in a post-apocalyptic world with danger around every corner, but no, they split up. But both Rosita and Daryl are very well-established characters in knowing that they can handle themselves in most situations, I think.
Yeah, very capable.
Whereas Denise isn't. And I think Denise just chooses the male role, more comfortable. Like, I think I'm safer with him.
Yeah, and again, more stuff that we've talked about before. You knew something was going to happen to her in this episode.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
And spoiler alert, we'll get that. But the foreshadowing on this episode is so bad. So bad.
This would be different if this was something they kind of established over time. Do you know what I mean?
But it was established in one episode from the get-go. I knew because I had not watched the episode on Sunday. I watch them on Mondays because we've discussed this before.
Right.
But I knew we're losing a character tonight. And from the get-go, you got, 5 characters out there in this episode. You got Eugene, Abraham, Rosita, Daryl, and Denise. And I can immediately put 2 up there that aren't going to get killed. That's going to be Daryl and Abraham. I just threw them up there. I was like, there's no way. Eugene, I was a little questioning of.
Eugene is invincible, so it'll never be Eugene.
Okay. Well, we have differing opinions here, but you might be right. But and then it came down to Rosita and Denise. But the events and the focus of the episode on that character was so bad, so overdone that I knew. I was just like straight up like, it's her from the get-go.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't know anything was going to happen when I watched it because I hadn't heard anything. But, I mean, immediately they're like, you don't know what you're doing. And then when they break into the place to get the medicine, you kind of have her looking for...
Yeah, exactly. So we have them...
No, I can do it. I can kill him and I fend for myself. You can stay in the car, but I can fend for myself. And then she breaks into the room, finds the zombie and the baby. It's just so bad. You know going in something's going to happen to her.
You're
You know whole time.
Slow down, Alex. Slow down. Bring it back for the audience. We're zooming forward now. But basically, you're right. I mean, they come to, I believe it's called the apothecary or whatever, this drugstore.
Right.
They get there. They enter. Now, this is, we were discussing this.
She has to sit in the car while they clear out the zombos.
Uh-huh.
Because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
And then and then she enters.
Right. Sorry, I just want to establish how shitty they're doing of Josh hiding the big twist in the episode.
Oh, you're totally fine. And so they enter the apothecary, this drugstore, whatever you want to call it, and she sits in the car, you're right. And then she comes in after they've cleared the area, I guess.
Right.
And my question is, first off, why is she out here doing this? Why would you let someone out here doing this? We kind of, me and you both discussed this in the first place. I just don't know why anyone with... She isn't a doctor, but she has medical knowledge. Why you would let people with those skill sets that haven't even proven to be good in combat or survival readiness, why you'd let them outside to go on these missions. But they do.
Right. I'll hit more on that here in a bit, but
okay, but
keep that in mind, and I'll talk more about that here in a minute.
But here's another big, huge thing of me. They come into this drugstore. I would expect the supposed halfway trained doctor in the zombie apocalypse to jump over the counter and look for the drugs, but she doesn't.
Well, she says, here's what we need, and they just say, fuck it, we're going to take all of it. Why would you bring her in the first place at that point?
Yeah.
Why would you even bother? Just where's it at? Great, we're going to take everything they have.
I can't agree more, and I was thinking the same thing, but I'm like, if you know what we need, you know where it's at a little better than we do. You jump over there and get the stuff. We'll cover you. We're the soldiers. We'll do more securing of the area, you know. And then we hear something. We hear a banging, right?
Right, and I think it's interesting that they're so advanced in the zombie apocalypse world that they can tell how many zombies there are based on sound, and then what kind of way they're in. Like, oh, he's stuck. Oh, we hear zombie sounds based on how many grunts they're making, and one, he's stuck. He's probably got a limp in his left arm. He's fine. We can tell based on these sounds. I just thought that was and Daryl's a tracker, so I guess that makes sense, but I just think it's amazing that they've been around so many zombies. They're like, yes, we can tell how many there are, what condition they're in.
And it's interesting that you bring that up because I think we are so far in The Walking Dead. We're on season 6. We've devoted literally almost 6 years of our lives to this series. From season 1, the threat was the walkers, zombies, so dangerous. Now we've progressed so much that, like you say, walkers are just something in the background, the foreground. They're not even the threat anymore unless it's a huge herd of them. Now the threat is the living.
Right.
And it's funny how you bring that up, how they just know by sounds. They're so used to them now, it's like whatever.
Right.
But so they jump over and get the medication, whereas I would have been like, let's go figure out where it's coming from, kill it, get it out of the way so it doesn't present any danger. But no, they leave Denise hanging out there, and she's on some sort of prove it mission, and not prove anything to anyone. In my opinion, it's prove it to herself.
Well, yes and no. I mean, she grabbed a tag that said Dennis on it, and I immediately go to Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny. Maybe she's a big fan of the show. Turns out it's, they're like, what are you doing in there? And she starts to talk about her brother, Dennis, the twin brother, and it's almost like, sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, obviously, but we see her grab the keychain, whatever it is, from the nursery. They had the baby.
Oh no, that's fine. She gets into this nursery.
And she talks about how, I used to have a brother and he was so strong. he reminds me of you, Daryl, and you're like my Dennis. And so I think it's not just herself, but almost prove to the world who she considers to be the world, and that would be the people that she attributes have these attributes of her family. If that makes sense. She sees Daryl as her brother, so she's trying to impress her brother, which means she's trying to impress Daryl. Not in any fancy, sexy kind of way, but just prove herself that she can do it, that she can make it work in this world, that she's a survivor.
Yeah.
So she's tough, brave, just like her brother.
And by the way, Alex is talking to us on a cell phone right now. We're doing this in a different way since his computer died, and I think I just heard him hit a button.
I didn't press any buttons, buddy.
Oh, maybe it was on my side, but someone pressed the button.
Pressing buttons?
I'm pressing buttons on my phone, but so she goes into this area where obviously a mother that was trapped in this area, because from the get-go they see that there's handprints all over this drugstore. So obviously zombies have been there a while trying to get in. She finds this zombie corpse. I mean, it's literally like, I mean, all zombies are corpses, but this thing is like decayed beyond decay. Right. And we see the obvious remnants of a child that's been drowned. Would you agree? Like, she drowned the child?
I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think that's what it was.
And I think I think it hits her a little bit. She gets out of there. And, Rosita and Daryl are kind of like, what'd you run into,
Right.
But they get all they need. And they leave the drugstore. And the foreshadowing here is just so bad because it's a character who has developed a little bit of a backstory, but not enough to solidly cement them into the Walking Dead cast of survivors.
Right, yeah. Going into this episode, we know that she was studying to be a doctor, and she's a lesbian, and that's about it. I mean, what other traits does she have other than the
I'm just saying, like, they're slowly developing. This is what got me when I thought they're going to kill her, is because it started going very fast into her backstory, but not very in depth.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I'm saying before this episode, I mean, that's what we knew.
Yeah, and that's where it got to me, is because
she's in love with Tara, and she got kidnapped for a few seconds by the wolf, and saw the best in him, and that was it. I mean, those are the three traits we kind of know about her, and then, like you said, all of a sudden, she wants to prove herself. She's confident in her abilities. She had a twin brother that she loved and was very close to, and this is, after she gets out, that's when she's telling Rosita and Daryl about it. She's like, you're miserable, and you remind me of my brother, and, I can do this. I'm a winner.
And this is where it was clear-cut for me, because when you start developing a character that fast, that strong, not over a period of time, but just crunched in, you're trying to create an emotional attachment for me in that character real quick, because they're going to be gone in a second.
Right.
That was how I took it, and that's how I knew. I was just like, I already knew that a character was going to die, but I keyed in on that scene really quick and was like, they're throwing so much attention at her, it's got to be her.
Yeah, and I mean, and even then, she sees a car as they're walking. She's like, there's a cooler in there. We might need something out of that cooler. Like, oh, we got what we need. We're good. Kind of like the, you don't get greedy out here. You get what you need, and you like safety. Wow, what's in that cooler? And then she gets attacked by the fucking zombie, trying to grab the cooler out of the car. She ends up killing it. She's like, I did it. And look, I got a 6-pack of soda out of it.
Now, let's hold right there, though.
Good. No, that was the only thing I wanted to make sure we held on. Because she said, I did it. He's like, you're going to get killed over what? 6-pack of soda? No, just one.
But
I'm badass.
I totally think this is a great area to go back to the other two,
Yes.
the other group,
Yes.
because now, yes, they are on the tracks. She's telling them how exactly what you explained. She finds this soda. There's a zombie in the car. She's going to take it on. She takes it on and actually kills it on her own. Damn near dying in the process, but she does. So she
Right.
feels alive and proud right now. Now we reverse, and we have a very similar situation between Abraham and Eugene. And would you like to lead us into that?
Okay, well, before I start this, whoever, and of course they're listening to this, but whoever writes for Eugene and Abraham, their banter is amazing. As much as I didn't like this episode, the way that they banter back and forth is so good. So we start with them in an alleyway, and Abraham's not sure what's going on. Eugene has his plan, because Eugene always has a plan.
Uh-huh.
He's easily the smartest character in the show, and the greatest character.
Eugene's the brains, Abraham's the muscle.
That's right. And, I mean, part of their banter is he's talking about the hair. Eugene's asking, or Abraham asks Eugene about his hair game. You know, Eugene, you don't spit game, you are game. Man, I just fucking love the way they talk to each other. So you can tell there's a little bit of tension building up.
Can I pause real quick? Just real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
So you're talking about how you love their banter in this episode. I think their character interaction since they've been introduced has been the best character interaction throughout the whole season that they've been in.
Absolutely. I do not disagree.
It is and like you said, whoever writes those characters and puts it's awesome.
Yes, so good.
But continue. I just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, no, like I said, I love it. That guy deserves an award for just being cool. Someone should buy him a beer. Anyway, they wander into a factory, and Eugene talks about how ammo is his precious commodity. You know, Hilltop doesn't have any ammo. They have plenty, but they have a finite supply. And he wants to manufacture bullets, manufacture ammo for their guns. And Abraham is, of course, very impressed. Who wouldn't be with Eugene and his super smarts? But that's the point where Eugene tells Abraham that his services are no longer needed, that he can fend for himself. He's learned the ways of the zombie apocalypse warrior, and that he doesn't need Abraham to protect him anymore. He can handle himself.
Now, what did you? There was one scene that happened though before that he gets attacked.
Right.
Just like.
Right. What I'm saying is that's before. Yeah. He calls dibs on this zombie. Really cool effect. He has melted metal all over his face.
It was awesome, and Eugene's trying to attack it, and it's just not working.
Yeah, he just keeps hitting the metal, keeps missing. He's trying to reach for a bar to kill the zombie with. And he can't reach it, so finally Abraham grabs it, kills him.
And that's when Abraham kind of is like, why did you do that?
Eugene says that.
My bad. Eugene is like, to Abraham, why did you do that? What was that about?
Yeah, and then, of course, because Abraham's in the episode, we get another fantastic Abraham one-liner of holding a turd by the clean end. Love
yes.
It. Anyway.
No, that was a good line. I loved it. That whole...
Oh, yeah. So Eugene and Abraham have this scaff. They're fighting. Abraham is told he's no longer needed, so he tells Eugene that Eugene can walk home. And Eugene's like, where are you going? Why are you leaving? My services are no longer needed. And that's when he leaves the factory.
And that there, I sensed a little fear in Eugene, in his character, but I also sensed accomplishment as well. Like, he didn't chase after Abraham. No longer was he was like, you're right, I need to be with you. He was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, you're right. I can do this on my own, and I'm going to walk home.
And so the big bad Abraham got his feelings hurt, I think. the nerdy Eugene has finally risen to, I can hold my own in this world, not just by my smarts, but by my, strength, whatever you call it. And
Man,
this is where we come back to our other characters. Now, I did not enjoy this episode for the very terrible foreshadowing, the very predictable outcome, but I do love this scene. I love when they're on the tracks and we have Denise, and she's now giving our two characters an earful, right?
Right, she's almost lecturing them.
She is, and you can kind of see them start to get it, and they pause, and they're listening to her, and I don't know if they're humoring her or they're actually like, okay, we understand. I don't know what it is, but she's giving them an earful, and she's like, you're gonna listen, and you're gonna listen to why we need to live life this way and be more risk taking and blah blah blah. And this is the part I loved about this episode is I knew she was gonna die, didn't know how she was gonna die, but the way she dies to me is so awesome because I loved the arrow through the head, but her mind has not stopped working instantaneously. It's still trying to process words, and she doesn't know what happened to her.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Now, we're going to go to the thing I hate. But in the comics, you said, when we started talking, and I love that you said this, you said you knew that Daryl and Abraham were safe in this episode, right? You weren't sure if it was going to be Rosita or if it was going to be...
Yeah, I just called out Daryl and Abraham safe because I know Daryl, if they kill him off, there's going to be a riot at AMC headquarters and they'll burn it to the ground. And Abraham is also becoming a fan favorite. And to me, this series loves killing characters, but they don't love killing fan favorites.
What in the comic, I hate this guy. Abraham's the one who gets killed there. In the comic.
Got ya.
That's how Abraham dies. He gets the crossbow arrow through the back of his head and out his eye from Dwight. And that's when you said, man, I love that happened. I hated it. And that's what really made me hate this episode. Because you can really see the difference between taking chances and making an impact versus just killing people off to kill people off. I mean, you talked about how Denise was the doctor. She's such an unimportant character now. She had 3 character traits that we know of. She's not even a doctor, and now Hilltop has a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So only profession, her only use is now being undermined by someone who's an actual doctor. She can't.
She's like the pharmacist now, or the medical assistant. I don't know. Yeah.
So it went. I mean, if we hadn't had the Hilltop yet, and this happened, to me that's a big deal because now there's this panic of our only doctor is dead.
Uh-huh. But now it's we lost a we lost a makeshift doctor, but we got a good doctor.
Yeah, we have a guy who can do ultrasound.
I totally agree, and it's surprising because I did not know that from the comic, but it would have made more sense to have Abraham killed there because it would have had an emotional impact on me, whereas Denise had no emotional impact because her development as a character has been so spotty, and that's how I knew it was going to be her because they tried to go so full on character development.
Anyway, continue. I just wanted to say I love that you said Abraham because the comics threw in a curveball. This one was he's going to be killed Denise is going to get killed because we've been talking about her.
Well, I want you to explain to people if they forgot, who is Dwight?
So we remember the episode where Daryl's out in the woods. He runs across
3 survivors.
Yeah, survivors. he tricks them, they trick him. There's kind of this back and forth, and then they end up working together. The girl, I believe, is diabetic. They have to give the medicine for this girl who has diabetes. And he ends up getting double-crossed by this couple. They take his crossbow, they take his bike, and he has to walk back to Alexandria. And I never put together that the bike from the compound raid was the bike that guy stole from him. I never put that together.
Oh, I did not either.
So that's how he knew that this guy, he didn't say anything, but he knew that this Dwight guy was with Negan's crew because that was Dayryl's motorcycle.
Got ya. That being said, was Dwight always in Negan's crew, or did he get picked up and put into Negan's crew?
He had mentioned it before, and maybe he was on the run and they brought him back because he's running from the bad guy.
Because he's running from Negan's crew, right?
Right. So, I won't say how he got his face burned because it might be different, but if it's anything like the comics, his face is burned because of Negan. So he's obviously interacted with this mysterious character, and so he was either on the run from them or he was in that group and trying to leave, something along those lines. So I'm not sure if the motorcycle was captured or if it was his motorcycle and he keeps it there because he stole it from Daryl.
But that basically is the Dwight character. I just wanted people to know who he was. That this is because Daryl's like, yeah, I should have killed you before, and it took me a second because now he's all burned, and I was like, who is? Oh, it is Dwight. So I wanted people to know like that. That's Dwight. He has been in previous episodes.
And he was on the run from wolves and that Marauder wolf group, and he was always part of Negan's group.
Yeah. Now,
I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about this character because he's semi-prominent throughout the story. So I don't think this is going to be the last time we see him.
I don't, but I think it's the last time we see him with his manhood. And that's where I want to go with this. So Denise is killed, falls to the ground. We're supposed to have a tear, but I just could care less. Now this group comes out.
Yeah, and they've got Eugene, who clearly didn't make it home. His mullet skills weren't up to par yet.
And it's like, put it down. You're coming with us, blah, blah, blah. And we got Abraham hiding over by this pile of barrels.
Right.
And Eugene's like, well, I don't know. I can't remember what Eugene says, but pretty much it makes it seem like he's going to double cross Abraham because they're in a semi-quasi bad relationship at the moment.
Yeah. Dwight says he's going to kill Eugene first, and then Rosita, and then Daryl. And that's when Eugene says you should start that asshole friend over there hiding behind the barrels.
Exactly. And they look, and obviously it was a ploy, and Eugene does something that is just
cocky.
Very cocky. That's the best way you could put it. He basically takes Dwight's dick and just mangles it.
Yeah, he just bites it.
Now, being as I think you are a big fan of Eugene, what did you think of that?
He must have teeth of steel because he just bit that guy's dick so hard through jeans that it caused him to scream and lose control.
And instead of I guess he's got a crossbow, and that would be very hard to shoot at close quarters with your cock being bit off, but and he just hangs on like a dog, would hang on to someone's arm in a vicious attack. Gun battle starts. This is one thing that I do not like about The Walking Dead is gun battles in The Walking Dead are very much like all of our favorite characters are Neo from The Matrix. They can miraculously escape every bullet for the most part and still kill 12 other guys.
Right, but to be fair, It looks like a lot of people also got away with Dwight's group.
Okay.
So it might just be a lot of cover fire. Because it
Gotcha.
wasn't just Dwight who got away, it was a whole bunch of folks.
Okay, I can understand that, but can you see my long-term view of it?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't disagree, but I'm saying in this case, I don't think there was a high body count just because we saw so many people get away.
Lots of skirmishing and cover fire and retreating because no one knew what was going on at that point. And basically now Eugene is shot. So I guess I can't say everyone gets out without being injured, but I don't think Eugene's going anywhere. I think he's been shot and they're going to get him back to Alexandria, and I think this is where it's going to come to. Negan's group is huge. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that would be the end of the episode. That's it. Do you have any other gripes, or what do you think is going to come next?
That's not the end of the episode.
It's not?
No, we have Carol's goodbye letter.
Oh, yeah, duh. Stupid me. Okay, so, yes, we do. We do have Carol's goodbye letter. So it's like a overdubbed. She's reading it, but it's overdubbed in like, so we got different things happening and we're listening to her talking. Now, since you remembered this, I want you to talk about her goodbye letter.
She talks about how she was initially kicked out by Rick, and she didn't expect to come back. And then she came back and almost felt like she overstayed her welcome. She's not who she wants to be. She's not who she's supposed to be, I guess. Not want to be. She's supposed to be, which was kind of the struggle that we saw with Carol in the previous episode with Maggie, and that she's just become this horrible monster. She used to be a mother. Now she's killed, 21, 23 people, actual humans, not zombies, and that she needs to leave the group. And that's when we have this long pin on Morgan.
But she said something in that speech. She says, something to the lines of, I'm supposed to kill for you, but I cannot kill for you anymore.
Right. And I think if I remember correctly, because I don't have my notes in front of me, obviously, it goes back to the idea of her kill count, how she's killed actual humans, not zombies.
Yeah, it's her human kill count, not the undead. Yeah. And then we have that pan shot of Morgan. Correct?
Yeah. So I'm expecting that the next episode is going to be Morgan going after Carol.
I could see that very much. So I could see... Who found the letter? Did anyone find the letter?
I think the boyfriend character was reading it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But I think he was reading it, but I'm not sure.
But so now we got Carol gone from the group. We got Eugene semi-mortally wounded. I don't think it's mortally wounded. And we got a bigger presence of Negan's group than we expected. And things are going haywire. And Alex hates this episode because the comic and the episode didn't line up. Am I putting that right with you?
That and the fact that the foreshadowing in this episode was terrible.
Gotcha. And that's my problem with the episode, the foreshadowing.
Yeah, and it's not that the comic didn't line up with the book, the comic didn't line up with the show. It's just that the comic took a chance on this episode, what this episode would be, where the show just kind of did status quo. The show played it safe.
Got you.
And it's just one of those times where you can see. I hate when people gripe about the small things that change, small plot lines. I don't care about, but this was a huge one, and it just shows the difference between a medium that's willing to take chances
and a medium that's not.
Yeah, and force their viewers or readers in this case to be put in positions they don't want to be, whether they like it or not. Kind of like how we've talked about in the past. They do that with Game of Thrones, how no one's really safe in Game of Thrones, where we know who's safe in The Walking Dead.
Yes, very much so.
And then this was just that big punch in the, big, shouldn't say punch, a big bite to the dick. the comic is willing to make you adjust and be ready to love and hate people at any time. Whereas this one, it's here's the people you're supposed to like, here's the people you need to be indifferent about, here's the people you need to hate.
Well, there you go. I would think this is a very good overview of The Walking Dead, Twice as Far. Why do you think they named it Twice as Far?
I think that had to do with the path. You know how they talked about the tracks versus the
versus
road,
going farther the other way?
Yep.
Well,
and then you have the maybe a play on words on the word twice there, because much like you pointed out, you have two different but very similar stories going on with Eugene and Denise.
Yes.
Whereas Eugene's a real survivor. He's upped his game. He's leveled up, whereas Denise never did.
Now, we also need to see what the reaction is of Denise's girlfriend.
Oh my God, I don't care.
Yeah, it's just such a side story to keep you interested. I almost, and I hate to say this, I'm not being like, I love the LGBT community. I really do. And this is going to sound bad, but I thought that story was so mildly put in there just to appease the LGBT community.
Oh my God, Marcus, I can't. Wow.
Well,
wow, everybody. Did you hear that? Marcus hates people who like the same gender.
No, I don't. But you got to be careful nowadays. But that's what I thought. I guess you don't have to be careful. Whatever. I have a gay sister. I love gay people. But I thought that
Marcus, are you coming out of the closet?
Well, I'm actually in a big room. I can't come out of a closet right now. But
no, I get what you're saying. It seems very shoehorned in. But I guess if objectively speaking, any relationship, whether gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, it just seems shoehorned in. You know what I mean? There's no purpose to any of it except they're Glenn and Maggie because they're having a baby. That becomes a central point. But it just seems like I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree. It's almost like they're trying to appeal, like, look.
AMC is gay friendly.
We have homosexual characters. But then again, characters being straight, there's never any conflict there, and there's never any conflict between them. Just that Eugene thinks it's hot.
Totally. Anyways, I think we covered this episode really well. I think I really enjoyed this podcast with you.
It was good. I'm glad that there were a few things you didn't know, and you made a few connections that I really liked. I never made the connection of Eugene and Denise, but I think it's just because I think Eugene's such a badass.
Well, you brought up a lot of things that I didn't connect either, and that's what's fun about this. And you know what? Damn it, we're doing this on a cell phone and a Zoom H6 right now. No computer involved, so we really put this together for you guys because Alex's computer's down, and that shows how much that we're dedicated towards this.
Someone's going to leave in the comments that the whole thing was a dream and then drop the cues on how it was a dream, and we both missed that. I'm waiting for that to happen.
Right. Anyways, I guess we've covered this very well. I am Marcus with the Horror Junkies of Utah, and I have
Alex on the cell phone.
Alex on the cell phone doing a cell phone call-in for our podcast. You know, you guys go check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Let us know what you thought in the comments below about this episode. A lot happened, but then again, not a lot happened. But just, tell us your thoughts. If you disagree with me and Alex, good. That's great. Just put it down below. If you agree with us, give us a thumbs up. And be sure to share this video. And I hope you're enjoying our little series we got going. And I guess, have a great night. Alex, any last words?
Nah. 2 more podcasts left.
What was that?
2 more podcasts left.
2 more
for the season finale.
That is very true. 2 more podcasts left for Alex and I. And then, sadly, I have to start the Fear the Walking Dead podcast, which maybe I can con Alex into joining me on that one. I don't know.
I'm Fear the Walking Dead not.
He said not, so I will probably be doing that one alone. Anyways, guys, you have a wonderful night. Keep it scary and go be a horror junkie and watch some horror. We'll talk to you a little later. Bye-bye.
Go!